Customerland is a podcast about customers, how to get more of them, how to keep them, what makes them tick. We talk to the experts, the technologies, and occasionally actual people, customers, to find out what they're all about. So if you're a CX pro, a loyalty marketer, a brand owner, an agency planner, if you're a CRM and personalization geek, if you're a customer service, CSAT, NPS nerd, you finally have a home. I'm Mike Giambattista. Welcome to Customerland.
I guess Store Connect came out of an initial idea. I had it about probably, mid 2017. So what's that? Almost 6.5 years ago now. Of small business owners don't have any time. And this is the sort of elephant in the room of all these modern SaaS products and everything that's being done to push small businesses into the technological age, and they have to do digital transformation. And that's all well and good, but the poor guy is working or girl is working 20-hour days and barely figuring out how to brush their teeth in the morning, let alone how am I going to do a digital transformation migration. And I was looking at this because we were developing a lot of custom e-commerce type and custom web applications in another company of mine. And we were integrating these directly with Salesforce. And during that process, I started to really understand Salesforce, which is a fairly misunderstood product, I think, especially in the small business sector. And what I realized was that Salesforce is a CRM, a customer relationship management system, but it's also a completely programmable system. And what I mean by that is it can trigger things and it can create events and alerts and it can do stuff with the data that's in it. And I thought, well, what if I built e-commerce on top of that and use that underlying data model and that underlying programmability and that underlying reports ability, because pretty much every small business is going to have to go e-commerce at some point, at some level. Even your business, you could sell a half-hour how to talk to the press seminar. You know what I mean? Right. Every business could go online. So I thought, well, that's a pretty genius idea, if I do say so myself. And then I went and had a look, and Salesforce had, of course, already done it with their enterprise solution. But then I looked a bit deeper, and it was an enterprise solution. It was
I don't know what you meant by it's the fact that it's misunderstood, but even if there is a small to medium-sized business proposition within Salesforce, it's hidden to the SMB world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely it is. And I just saw this as a wide open market. And what I realized, I think, was that whole let's spend the time well aspect was also missing. Everyone was trying to do a full digital transformation. And
right.
What I tried to do was create a product that gets Salesforce, and you put your customer data in it and you put your product data in it. And now your sales team have something to use as a CRM. But then step 2 is sort of just publish that as a website and an e-commerce solution. And that's what Store Connect does. It takes all of your data in Salesforce that you want to have public and publishes it. So like our homepage is completely running on Store Connect, just, if anyone goes and has a look. So, and it's not an e-commerce site particularly. You can buy some Store Connect branded merch if you want, and you're welcome to. And we'll put a promo code at the thing down the below, but it's very much a, how do we save our customers time? And if you save them time, you're saving them money. And if you're saving them money, it means that small business owner can spend money to make more money, which is basically what every small business owner does. If you save $10,000 on something, you're going to invest it in marketing or business expansion or something much more often than you're going to go blow it on a night out somewhere. So
right.
That's really where Store Connect came from, and that's fundamentally what it is. We run your website and your e-commerce directly out of Salesforce using that data inside.
When I was first introduced to the idea of Store Connect, it seems to me like a really obvious idea, so obvious that this has to have been done by somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't sound like it has been.
Yeah. And I've been waiting to find that other product over the last 5 years. It's been really funny, this whole development process. I've sort of been waiting for that's already been done. It's over there moment, because it was one of those obvious ideas. I think it has been done a few times. So Salesforce, in various ways, Salesforce have their own commerce solution on top of Salesforce. I mean, that does exist.
Right.
But it's definitely not for the small business market. You're looking at, you'd have to be doing $50 to $100 million revenue before you'd really look at it. That's just, you could probably go down to 10 maybe, but
what a lift if you have, yeah, that's an overwhelming proposition.
It is an overwhelming proposition. And it's, so that was already there. And then there are a lot of connectors to Salesforce. Like you can boot up a Shopify app, and look, if you're a really small business and you're nascent, Store Connect's probably not the right product for you, and go launch a Shopify store and prove your product. And that's, it's an amazing product. But the problem that you'll run into is as you start to scale, and which we hope you will, right? As you start to scale, you start hitting these barriers of expansion where you have all these sort of disconnected systems. So you might have your Shopify and your HubSpot and your Zendesk and your Xero and your mini ERP system or Dear ERP or something. And all these services are running around the place, and your chatbot and your help desk. And what you'll start hitting is an expansion problem where you're starting to pay humans to get computers to talk to computers. And that's just such a phenomenal waste of money that it's mind-blowing, but it's also hidden. It's not a line item on your balance sheet.
Right. That doesn't become visible until after the fact. Allant is an audience orchestration engine leveraging data, analytics, experience management, and MarTech integration to power the solutions behind successful customer journeys. Everything they do is based on the proven principle that customers want a more relevant, less intrusive, and privacy-centered relationship with brands, and they want to interact with brands on their terms, with their needs in mind in the channels they choose. Allant gives some of the largest and best-known brands in their category a competitive advantage to deliver better lifecycle experiences, to individualize, nurture, and energize the relationship between the brand and their customers. Check them out at allantgroup.com. That's ALLANT group.com.
Yeah. And then you suddenly, you hit sort of like 1,000 orders a week, and you just can't grow for some reason. And then if you start looking into it, you go ask the shipping person, well, what's the problem? They say, well, I have to log into Zendesk to find out if they've got the right customer address, because that's the source of truth. And then I have to check the payment details in Shopify. And then Dear hasn't synchronized from Shopify until 3:00, because that's when the sync happens. But then when it's synchronized from Shopify, it's overwritten the correct address I just put in from Zendesk. It's just crazy, right? And this is where I would say 90+% of our customers start their Store Connect journey from. We actually have quite a few customers that have literally started their business from day one on Salesforce and Store Connect. And, you can do that at a price for less than Shopify Plus. All your Salesforce licenses, all your Store Connect licenses, you can start for under a Shopify Plus price.
Really?
They will, yeah. So the minimum list price, I think, I worked this out for someone yesterday, I think it's like $815 a month. And that gets you 2 Salesforce licenses and a Store Connect small plan. So this company that we started, they're a plumbing company in Australia. They sell plumbing supplies, both retail and to trade. And they've been able to install this whole product on Salesforce and Store Connect. They signed up for Salesforce, I think, at the start of the month, and the whole site was live mid the following month, including their Salesforce setup.
Wow.
Now what they can do is all of their, and this is an example of time well spent, which is our motto, time well spent. They are able to now do things like they enter the product, so that they're selling a tap, they enter that product, they upload the images, they do all that craft it's a pain in the ass running e-commerce. I've got to say, like anything we can do to reduce the pain is well worth it. So they enter all this data around the product and images and content and SEO and all this stuff. And then what they do is they enter a retail price in Salesforce, and then they enter their account level 1 and account level 2 price. And that's it.
Meaning wholesale and resale, wholesale and retail.
Well, yeah, like they're good B2B customers, and they're even better ones, right?
Right.
And then they're done. Because what can happen now is that Store Connect will show the retail price if you're not logged in. And if you're logged in as one of the B2B customers, it changes all the pricing to that second tier, right? So they don't have to go and duplicate that whole store and all of those products into a B2B store. You know, we have another customer that is currently running, we just counted it yesterday, which blew my mind, 46 different stores across 23 brands in 3 currencies in 4 countries, right? All running off the one Salesforce account and one Store Connect license.
Wow.
You know, and the time savings on that, like they've got 23 brands. Some of those brands have 3 stores, 1 in each country, right? So they enter the product once and they just give that product 3 currencies on the price book entry, right? And they're done. You know, and it's just published across all of those sites, and all the orders come in together, all the currency conversions done in Salesforce, because Salesforce is multi-currency and it supports all of that. And their CEO can log in and click update on their dashboard and get up to the second reporting on their sales across the world. You know, it's mind-blowing. We were talking to a customer that had 83 stores, and they've now signed up and they're in the process of migrating. But they had 83 stores, and all 83 stores across 4 countries, mind, were running different e-commerce software. So I think across the 83, they had 5 that were on the same platform.
And what was their headcount to run that?
They had 4 or 5 full-time staff that were doing basically nothing but trying to keep it up to date. They failed. And one of the reasons they came to Store Connect is they said, look, you know, it takes us 3 or 4 days to launch a product. And they're an import-export business, and they look after, I think, 21 brands or 17 brands or something like that. So a brand would release their winter catalog, and they would spend weeks trying to get that catalog up to date across all of their systems, right? And I said to them, how are you running your business? And they go, we're really, really good at Excel. You're not wrong.
No.
So we're replacing all of that, again, one Salesforce account and one Store Connect license, and that's going to run the whole business. So yeah, it's all about time well spent. And you can probably pick up, I'm pretty passionate about this. I've been a small business owner for the last 10 years, and I know that the last thing I have is spare time.
Yeah, it doesn't exist in this world.
Not
at all. So where's the threshold, just to get a little bit in the weeds, where's the threshold where an e-commerce operation would need to scale up to the next level in Salesforce or Store Connect?
You mean after that sort of 815?
Yeah.
Well, the 815 level gets you 2 licenses for Salesforce. And this is probably, you know, elephant in the room, Salesforce is expensive, right? So, but it's expensive because it's only expensive if you're not using it to generate income. So to answer your question directly, and then I'll go back to this expensive aspect, I think, that 815 gives you 2 licenses in Salesforce plus the small plan in Store Connect. The small plan in Store Connect can scale. There's no limit on the number of transactions. It comes into a limit on the amount of images and content and how good you want your database and the support levels and this sort of thing. If you don't want to really scale your Store Connect environment to one of our more expensive annual plans, you don't have to, but most do, because you know they're now generating a lot of business out of this. They want to make sure it's up. They want higher support, all that sort of stuff. So we've had, you know, clients running multi-million-dollar annual revenue off one of our small plans quite happily. You know, there's no problem with that. The next level, you know, jumps up another 10 grand a year or something for us. On the Salesforce side, it's how many users do you want to have logged into store into
it's a seat license thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just you just add them as you go, but you don't have to add the full license Salesforce user. You know, if all you want is someone to manage the content or the orders, you can actually get cheaper licenses for those. And, you know, if all you want is someone to do the website updates, they can actually get a platform license, which is even more cheap. So there's lots of ways to manage that. But the Salesforce side scales linearly with your staff count as you grow. The Store Connect scales much more flat, with your volume. So Store Connect we have a fixed annual fee, which sort of determines how big in terms of images and database storage and stuff your site is. And then we have a per transaction fee. So 0.5% of every sale that goes through. And the reason we charge that is we handle all of the synchronization between your store and Salesforce. We handle all the servers, all the scaling, the uptime, all of that sort of stuff. And that 0.5% transaction fee puts us in, gives us direct interest to make sure your site is up, running, and selling as much as possible.
Sure. Okay. So there's
we had a client, for example, that was doing 3,000 orders a month. So about 36,000 orders a year. This is on our website if you want to read the story. And it's called Can Store Connect Scale. And they were doing 3,000 orders a month. And then one day, 3 days after New Year's Eve, on New Year's Day, they put rapid antigen tests online for sale in Australia when you couldn't buy them anywhere. And in a day and a half, they did 36,000 orders. And we were like, without telling us or warning us, right? Thanks. But because we're incentivized to make sure they can sell, all of our systems just scaled up, handled the load, and scaled down at the other side with not a single order dropped.